Oh, yeah, baby. Wow. Minnesota Timberwolves coming off a very, very impressive performance, beating the best team in the NBA, Oklahoma City Thunder, 112 to 107. That was a really fun game to watch. Awesome night of sports. We start out the college football playoff hot with that Alabama and Oklahoma game. Jake Paul got his butt whooped, which we all kind of saw. It was a good night for sports, kind of all over. I didn't get to watch all of the Wolves game because I did want to watch the Jake Paul fight. Um, and I didn't get to finish the college football game because of it. But I'm recording this at night. This is going to be up in the morning. But either way, this weekend we got a full slate of sports from college football playoffs, 3 games on this beautiful Saturday. And a lot of Minnesota sports, the Wild of back-to-back games. The Vikings travel to the Big Apple, and the Wolves play right then again on Sunday in Milwaukee. Either way, I'm going to really quickly go through the last 5 minutes because one thing I covered last episode, without Anthony Edwards, this Wolves team does not have a true leader in clutch time. Ant proved it to be all just him tonight. Ant was the reason why we won the game tonight. And I'll get to it. But this is the last 5 minutes because I got to watch the last 5 minutes of the game. I watched most of it, full first half, start of the third, and then I watched that lousy fight until the 6th round. Jake Paul got knocked out. Either way, last 5 minutes in the Wolves game. First 4 minutes after the 5-minute mark that the Wolves had, 3 of them were turnovers, and I was saying to myself, okay, this is not going to go. This is not going to be good. This is not going to be fun. 3 turnovers in the first 4 possessions under 5 minutes. Not good. Then, well, the other thing too is rebound for the first. So from 4:45 to 2:30 in the last 5 minutes of the game there, Isaiah Hartenstein had 4 offensive rebounds. I mean, my gosh, he just keeps hitting them out to people. Yeah, people can say that he's just in the right spot at the right time. It's luck, but this is that's something OKC does so well is they are at the spot they need to be. They know how to read the ball as it's being shot, what side of the rim it's going to hit, where it's going to go. They also have guys like Alex Caruso and Lou Dort actually crash the paint and try to get in for rebounds, unlike some teams. But 4 offensive boards in a 2-minute span, terrible. I mean, that can't happen. The Wolves got lucky that SGA and Williams, they all missed a good amount of shots there. Either way, we're going to go down to 106 Wolves ball. A lucky foul called on Lou Dort. Randall to the free throw line. He makes one of them. The second one he misses. But then Rudy returns the favor from Hardenstein and blocks it right out to Ant. Or maybe it wasn't Ant, maybe Dante. But either way, off the rebound, Rudy blocks it out, hits it out. We get it. Ant gets it up top. Through legs behind the back, steps back for the 3 on the kind of left quarter 3-point line there. Bang. Anthony Edwards. I mean, that was one of the better shots I've seen of his career in this big of a moment, in this big of a game. Anthony Edwards, that was an amazing play. But then right after that, he follows it up with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander driving kind of right past him and Jaden McDaniels. But then he follows that up with a absolute kind of half chase down block. Shai couldn't even get it above the backboard. Ant swatted that thing down. Wolves got possession. And eventually Randall gets fouled. Randall hits his 2 free throws. And then they're up by 3 at this point. And you're saying, all right, they're going to get another shot. OKC has 11 seconds left on the clock, I think it was. Obviously, it's going to go in the hands of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It has to. He's the MVP. But you know what? Anthony Edwards and his active defense, he swats it away from him as he's dribbling. He pickpockets Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They get the ball. Jaden gets fouled. And we win the game when Jaden hits his 2 free throws to extend the lead by 5. All Anthony Edwards in that last minute, and that is what we have to see more of. Just active on defense active on the offensive side of the ball. I need guys moving around, not just ISO ball the entire last 5 minutes like I've been complaining about this entire season. That is how you win. Physicality. I mean, gosh dang it, Finchy gets thrown out in the first quarter because of 2 horrible missed calls, and these guys, our team right here wouldn't stop crying about penalties and these fouls. It every time they drive in the lane, I mean, Ant, he gets hacked. 90% of the time he drives in the lane. But for them to just keep complaining, there was one sequence with that at the 5-minute mark where Ant and Randall were in the lane. Ant went up for the layup. He got fouled for sure, but they didn't even get back on defense. And Randall commits a foul. It's the loose ball foul or whatever before the half court. I forget what that's called. But either way, they get 2 free throws right then and there. Also, again, in the first half, hit your free throws. This game shouldn't even it wouldn't have been this close at the end. We would have had a lead by, I think, like 8 or 9 points if we hit our free throws in the first half. Again, it's not hard. A lot of things that they can improve on. But when you beat the best team in the NBA, you're gonna get your flowers there. And guess what? I think we are experiencing maybe just the best rivalry, not team rivalry, but player rivalry of the next 10, 12 years. I think it's not a hot take to say that. Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai obviously dominated in the playoffs last year, so that rivalry was kind of one-sided. And they had the great Game 3 in the Western Conference Finals. But tonight, Ant showed that he has a side of him where he can take down Shai at any given time. And it's going to be a rivalry instead of just being owned by OKC. I mean, the Wolves showed tonight that they can win against any team in the league. And it's a good thing to see because we've been absolutely owned, just like OKC has owned every other team in the NBA over the past year. So super positive stuff. The whole team's going to be on a pretty big high right now. I'm going to be on a high. We won for Finchy. Finchy just threw himself out of the game, and that it was a rightful being mad at the refs there. The refs missed a very blatant foul there on Randall and Ant, 2 fouls. But he gets thrown out. Mike Nori steps in. Either way, great game. Super fun to watch. And again, super fun night of sports. That's all I have to say there. The football game tonight, if anyone really cares, I'm going to be going through a lot of the college football playoff because I'm going to be following it myself way too much, maybe. I should be focusing on Minnesota sports more, but college football is like my favorite, and it's going to be a big part of the show right now. Tonight, Oklahoma jumps to a 17-0 lead, and then Alabama claws back with so Alabama scores a touchdown, and then they force a 3-and-out to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's punting. Their punter catches the snap, perfect snap right to the chest, and then he, right as he's about to drop and kick it, he muffs the handling, and he fumbles. Alabama recovers. They get the ball right away. They get a field goal out of that. But then the next possession, John Mateer throws an ugly pick 6. So Oklahoma really let Alabama back into this game. It was a very big game of momentum, and just the switches between that. Alabama played well. They kind of just took over in the second half. Oklahoma couldn't get a lot going. It was looking like the Oklahoma defense would absolutely just dominate the line of scrimmage. The defensive line was going to get to Ty Simpson all game. It didn't turn out that way. That's just how it was through the first 15 minutes. Either way, Alabama, they go and get a huge grinding win in Norman. That's the biggest thing about it, in Oklahoma. Getting revenge for when Oklahoma beat them 23-21 earlier this season. And here's an update on our prediction standings. Obviously, last night I was the only one who made a prediction. Again, just like how my TCST predicting career has started, last night was bad for me. All right. I said the Wolves would lose. I said Alabama would lose. I got both of those wrong. But I did say for my player prediction in the football game, John Mateer would have a rushing touchdown. So I get the point there. I'm up to 4 points now. My record is 15-9. Jack and Trevor, they're on the show a fair amount. Jack is 8-7 with 3 points. Trevor's 11-6 with 3 points. I have a bigger sample size, obviously. So, but I got to get my record back up. And if you guys see down below, I think there's 7 games I'm going to be predicting this weekend. So, let's just go a quick 7-0 and get back up there. I'm going to be predicting all of these. No other segments or anything today, just predictions there, and talking about these games coming up this weekend. But if anyone's wondering, also the record is based on if they just win or lose. That's just the record. The points, if you get the player prediction right or the team, like I said, the Wolves bench would have 40 points. They ended up having about 30, so I didn't get that. But you get 1 point in the point category. If you get the player prediction right, and if you get the score of a game right based on what sport it is, you get points there too. Either way, look at all these games this weekend. We got 3 college football games today. Miami, Texas A&M at 11, Tulane at Ole Miss at 2:30, and then to wrap it up at night, James Madison travels to Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. And then today at 2:00, the Wild have a huge game against the Edmonton Oilers, and then a back-to-back. The Wild play again tomorrow against the Avalanche at 5:00. Both of those being in Grand Casino Arena, big chance to get more of a comeback brewing against the Avalanche in the standings right now. Again, tomorrow too, Vikings travel to the Big Apple, play the Giants, and tomorrow, the Wolves play the Bucks. I'm losing my words because I have to cover quite a few games this week. Quite a few games. All right. But first off, we're going to start with this Miami and Texas A&M game. This is this is really anyone. This is the game I am easily most excited about. I think I could agree with a lot of people when I say the Ole Miss Oregon games. I don't think it will be very close. I guess that spoils my predictions a little bit. But I have a gripe to make about the playoff committee. You cannot let in 2 G5 schools. Okay. If either of these games between Ole Miss and Tulane and James Madison and Oregon come within, I'll say, 2 touchdowns, that is a success. There is no way Tulane and James Madison can win this game. I don't know if people remember, Ole Miss Trinidad Chambliss was injured at the beginning of the year, and he was battling an injury kind of at the start of the year. Tulane lost to Ole Miss 45-10 in week 2 this year. All right. These games will not be close. You could have had a Notre Dame here. You could have had a Notre Dame playing Ole Miss. That would have been an electric game. Jeremiah Love, Ian Book. Oh my gosh. I don't get it. It's dumbfounding still to me to this day that they let in 2 G5 schools. It's not going to be good games. Just simply, at least I don't think. Maybe one of these teams shocks me. And don't get me wrong, Tulane and James Madison are 2 great teams in their respective conferences. Okay, James Madison and Tulane, they don't have competition. Tulane, you could say they have more competition than James Madison. I'm actually blanking on what conference James Madison is in, so I'm going to look it up real quick. Either way, the one I'm most excited for is Miami and Texas A&M, obviously. Oh, yeah, so it is the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt, the next closest teams are Old Dominion and, oh my gosh, yeah. Old Dominion went 10-3 this year. Then the next closest team is Coastal Carolina, who went 6-6. That's the competition that James Madison had to play this year. So it won't be close. I can promise you. I mean, this is what everyone thinks. I need to get to this Miami game before I get too carried away. All right, we're going to Kyle Field at Texas A&M. One of the best environments in the sport of college football. It really is. All right, both these teams, they rely on the pass a lot. Miami's a very pass-heavy offense. They have Fletcher at the running back. Carson Beck, the transfer from Georgia, obviously one of the bigger transfer names this past offseason going into this season. He's had an up and down year with Miami, mostly good. They made the playoffs, so it has to be mostly good. The thing that I am like most confident going into this game is Miami's defense, 8th in the nation in scoring, 8th in the nation in yards allowed. A&M 115th in the nation on third down on offense. They struggle. They struggled against the SEC part of the time. They still put up a lot of points because they have a bunch of great receiving threats downfield, which I'll get to. But I think this game comes down to Miami's defense being able to get off the field on third down, obviously led by maybe top 5 draft pick Ruben Bain Jr. They also have a great secondary duo with Thomas and Fitzgerald, both having 4 pass defenses on the year and 4 interceptions. Great year by those two. Miami also on offense. They're obviously headlined, like I said, by Carson Beck and their freshman wide receiver. I think it's Malachi Tony. I think it's Malachi, if I remember correctly. Malachi Tony. Miami does it in the pass game. They do it on defense. They do it in the trenches, and that's what I think this game will come down to. But A&M, they have a lot of great things going to. Marcel Reed, one of the most electric quarterbacks in the nation, he announced that he's going to be returning next year. So obviously going into next year, definitely a Heisman caliber talent, Heisman candidate coming into next year. But we're talking about this year. He is one of the best dual threat QBs in the game. But the turnovers, he has interceptions in 80 or 90% of the games he's played in. I think he only had 2 games, maybe 2 or 3 games where he didn't throw a pick this year. He can get into trouble a little bit. But he also has, I think, a top 5 receiver duo in the sport of college football, Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver. Both of those guys can catch the deep ball. They can blow by a dude. They can catch the contested ball. They are perfect for what Marcel Reed does for this Texas A&M offense. The only thing that scares me about A&M is their defense. And it's the part of they do not force turnovers. A&M all year, 3 interceptions forced by the defense. I don't know where that ranks in college football, but I know it's pretty bad. Okay. You need to force turnovers, especially against these quarterbacks that are going to be drafted. Carson Beck will be drafted in the NFL. I'm not going to say which round, but he will be, just like a lot of the other players in the college football playoff. You need to force turnovers. A&M can get to the quarterback, and that's the only reason why they were undefeated all the way up until their last game, which was against Texas, where they lost 27-17, I think. They ended up, I think that was the last game of the year. Yeah, because rivalry weekend. Either way, that's why they were undefeated. You can say A&M maybe had a more of a favorable schedule. It's the SEC. They're going to be playing hard teams every single week. But when you only cause 3 interceptions or take the ball away that many times, I actually didn't look up how many fumbles they've caused, but they get to the quarterback. All right. Cassius Howell, 11.5 sacks. Watch for him tomorrow. Either way, for my prediction in this game, you know what? Yeah, I'll do prediction by each one. I have Miami winning. Okay. I have the upset, the 10-7 upset, just because what I said. This game is won in the trenches. Miami does it better in the trenches. They get to the quarterback. They protect Carson Beck better than I think. If they take away Cassius Howell, that guy who had 11.5 sacks for Texas A&M this year, if they take him away, I think Texas A&M is going to have a hard time stopping this elusive pass offense. And here's the thing with Miami. They can kick it out to their running back, Fletcher, anytime they want. He had a good year too, but it's mostly a passing offense. They're going to have to take away many options there. Either way, Miami wins 27-20. What I have for my player prediction, Marcel Reed will be picked off or throw 2 or more interceptions. This Miami defense has been great all year. They will have Marcel in a blender. That's what I think there. All right, we're getting to 2 other games where I'm not excited. I'm going to watch them. I don't think they're really going to be close. Obviously, Tulane at Ole Miss. I already mentioned Ole Miss won this game early in the year, 45-10. And here we go. Tulane's quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, is a baller, but he does not have enough around him. The offensive line is not going to be able to take in everything Ole Miss gives you. Okay, the offensive line isn't big enough, active enough, physical enough. Ratzlaff had 14 pass touchdowns. He's their quarterback, I should say. 14 pass touchdowns and 16 rush touchdowns. I think maybe if you're talking about pure dual threat and that ability to get out of the pocket, run, and for these design runs that they put him on, he is the best in the nation. Just because they run their offense so perfectly with that. But there is a silver lining to preparing for Ole Miss here, because Ole Miss is stacked everywhere. They just had their best season in their franchise's history. But their coach, Lane Kiffin, had a big falling out. He accepts the LSU job, okay? And he takes all of the staff that he wants with him. He said, I think his exact quote was, I have a jet, and anyone that wants to come with me can, okay? Everyone that wants to come with, and a lot of people did. So Ole Miss was kind of left in the dust after having, like I said, their best season in their school's history. Which it was a dumb way to go out for Lane Kiffin after really pulling up that entire college. He made Jackson Dart, and now he's a starter in the NFL. Right now, Trinidad Chambliss had a fantastic year. Either way, like I said, Chambliss, big threat there. 18 touchdowns this year, only 3 picks, doesn't turn the ball over. But then Kewan Lacey, their running back, one of the best running backs in the nation, over 100 yards per game. And he only scored, he had one game this year without a touchdown. One game without a touchdown. And 50% of the games he played, he had multiple touchdowns. The dude is a baller. They have one of the best quarterback running back duos in the sport. And I think they're just going to completely dominate down there in Oxford. I think the fans are really going to show up. Even though the whole program's kind of been just in a flurry of bad stuff as of recently. They are in the college football playoff, and they can shock anyone. With the offense Ole Miss has, yes, they have holes on their defense, but their defense has improved over the past year since Jackson Dart left. When Jackson Dart, the only reason why they lost was their defense really couldn't stop, and Jackson Dart had to score 40 points a game or they were going to lose. This year, the defense has played their role better. They can shock teams, okay? I need to look farther into the bracket, which I will in a future episode. I don't know who they would play. I think maybe Georgia if they won. Not sure, actually. Either way, Ole Miss can make a run on anyone. They really can. That's why I have Ole Miss winning this game 38-14. Okay. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be close. I don't see it. I don't see Tulane really being in the game at all. My prediction, Chambliss. What did I say here? 250 pass yards. And then 80 rush yards, because he's also one of those dual threat quarterbacks. He's just going to match Ratzlaff's game. So great game for him. I don't see Ole Miss having a challenge in this game whatsoever. All right, next one against our next G5 opponent in Eugene, Oregon. The Ducks play the Dukes. Fun little name matchup there. Oregon plays James Madison. James Madison barely squeaking into this playoff. One thing I did see, one big headliner going into this game, Eugene is like flooded right now. They've been getting rain for 5 or 6 days straight, like nonstop through the night, everything. This field's going to be soaked. It's going to be a huge running game, which here's the thing, that benefits Oregon 1,000,000%. They had the number 1 rushing offense in the nation. Okay. With that 3-headed monster that College Game Day and all the analytics talk about between Whittington, Davison, and Hill Jr., all those guys get touches. The main one being Whittington. That dude's a beast. I mean, we know Gophers fans exactly what happened to us there. He kind of had his Marshawn Lynch beast mode run against us when we played there, however many weeks ago that was. It was bad, but they are some ballers there. And then you have maybe a top 5 pick in Dante Moore at quarterback, and you have good receiving options between Benson, Kenyon Sadiq, who that's going to be the number 1 tight end going into the draft. Oregon can make a run. This college football playoff, this is why I am still so mad that Notre Dame didn't make it in, because they could have made a run. They made a run last year. They made the national championship last year. They could have easily done it this year again. there's just no way James Madison or Tulane can't. I am all for one of them being in, because sometimes, some year, you're going to get that little miracle run where that G5 school beats the 5 seed in the 12 versus 5 game. But for both of them to be in, I just can't harp on it enough. Either way, Oregon is going to take care of all the business today. JMU, for offensive standards, Wayne Knight, their running back and quarterback, Alonza, I think it's Alonzo or Alonza Barrett Jr., great duo. I'm not going to discredit what James Madison did this year. Their offensive statistics rank way up in all of the FBS numbers and all the teams there. But I still, and this is what I look for going into the NFL draft too. Who do you play? What's the competition like? James Madison is in the gosh dang Sun Belt. The Sun Belt has only one other team that has over 9 wins. And the rest of them, I mean, it's NFL talent. It's just talent in general. These guys do not play teams like Oregon. Oregon is going to beat them in the trenches. They're going to bully them. Yeah, it's going to be a run game, but here's the thing. James Madison is going to need to push up and load the box to stop the run, because Oregon's going to start with that, especially if it's raining out. But then they're going to take a few shots. DeCorian Moore downfield, Malik Benson and Kenyon Sadiq, all of them are going to be downfield, and you have to worry about Dante Moore too. Oregon is, I think, going to shred James Madison. And let me just get to my prediction right there. Oregon wins 42. Maybe I'm overestimating. Maybe I am. Okay. Like I said, I've watched like 3 James Madison games this year. I've watched film on them. I read up on them. I know exactly how they play. It's just you can't beat you can't beat an Oregon team. You just can't. Especially, I didn't even talk about walking into Autzen, one of the hardest places to play in college football. In a college football playoff atmosphere, JMU is not gonna know what hit them. Honestly, I really can't explain it. My prediction is that Whittington, I'm just gonna put Witt, and their second running back, Davison, will combine for 4 or more touchdowns. 4+ TDs for their running back duo or tandem, whatever you want to call it. All right. That's my college football takes for this weekend. All right. We are going to get to more of our Minnesota Standard stuff. Minnesota Wild coming off of another great game by the Wild. And it's shaping up to be a very fantastic weekend at Grand Casino Arena. You got 2 back-to-back days. The first one being against the Edmonton Oilers, who you've already played once this season. You beat them 1-0 in a Wallstead shutout. There is absolutely no way, I'm just going to say it right now, there's no way that we get another shutout against Edmonton. That is very far-fetched. That game, we played fantastic against McDavid and Draisaitl, not giving them chances. McDavid came out of that game with 2 shots on goal. That's all you have to do. That's a winning formula right there for the Wild. A bit of positivity here. Well, actually, I'm going to start with the negative. Damon Hunt and Zach Bogosian are both 100% out. And remember, I'm recording the night before. So another thing, I don't know who's starting in net right now. I have a feeling this weekend, because it's Sunday against the Avalanche. Wallstead played both of those games early in the year. He got that big win in overtime against the Avalanche, and then he got the shutout against Edmonton. Gus played this last – no, I think – gosh dang it, now I'm forgetting who played our last game or who was in that. I think it was Wallstead. You know what? I'm going to check against the Blue Jackets. I'm just completely blanking. That's unlike me, people. Yeah, it was Wallstead. Okay. I have a feeling they're just going to keep they're going to go back. Okay. A goalie's not going to go back-to-back days. Not many goalies can do that. I think it'll probably be Gus tomorrow and then Wallstead on Sunday. Either way, Hunt and Bogosian are out. Bogosian is day-to-day. Hunt is week-to-week right now for the injuries. But the rest of the guys that are injured, and obviously, as you know, as a Wild fan right now, very injury rattled. This entire team is just vanished with injuries. But tomorrow, going in questionable as of tonight, Zuccarello, Middleton, Mojo, Brodin, and Hinostroza are all questionable. I don't see all of them being out. I think the main ones that would be in would probably be Mojo because he was day-to-day, Marcus Johansson, and then maybe Zuki. Maybe, I hope. That would be amazing. Then you're really going to start seeing this team form together around Quinn Hughes and that massive trade the Wild made. But here's the thing with Hunt and Bogosian being out, you are going to see you're going to see Brock Faber and Quinn Hughes on the ice half of the game. This last game against Columbus, Hughes played 33 minutes and Faber played 31 minutes. Over half the game. And it's going to be very tough on their bodies these next 2 days. But they're going to need to put it all in against two great teams. But you're going to see those guys on the ice a ton and probably looking tired some of the time because they deserve to look tired after playing that much. In the net will be Kelvin Pickard for the Picard for the Oilers. All right. Because actually they traded for I forget who they traded. They traded Skinner for I'm forgetting the other goalie's name. Jerry, I think. Pickard's having a bad season though. Picard 3-4, 3.91 goals against, which is just way high up there. Almost 4 goals a game. He's averaging an 8.57 save percentage. That's very low too. He's like I said, he's just having a rough year. Great chance for the Wild to get a few in there and get an early start, I'd say. I think that's my biggest key to the game. Get a few in. Get 2 goals in the first period and play off of that. If you can get a good start against Edmonton, I think your chances would raise a lot from there. But here's the thing. Connor McDavid, the greatest player in the NHL currently, is on a massive hot streak, okay? He, I think, let me pull up his last 10 games. In his last 10 games, he has won game where he didn't have a point, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to have to pull it up, like I said. But you also have Leon Draisaitl, who's having another obviously great season. He's one of the better players in the NHL still. All right. I have McDavid's game log pulled up. This is impressive. So here we go. Going all the way back to November 29th. These are the last 10 games. 2 points against Seattle. But then he played the Wild. This is the game where he had 0 points. 0. He only came away with 1 shot on goal, not even 2. He had 0 points against the Wild. And then I'll just say the points for every game. 4-2-2, 4-3, 4-4-2. Connor McDavid is on a roll, averaging 3 or 4 points in his last 10 games leading up to this one. He's been on a tear along with Draisaitl. They also have Bouchard, Nugent Hopkins, Ekholm, Hyman, just a bunch of other good, solid, great players. They've always been focused on offense. Their goaltending is kind of what's kept them from winning that cup the last few seasons. And it's a huge game. Just no way to sugarcoat it at 2:00 afternoon game, which I don't always like. I don't like that. But either way, one underrated bright spot about the Wild, Nicholas Aube-Kubel, I think how you say his name. That kid can very much stick handle. He's fast. He's decisive. He is a bright spot right now. I really think so. Great puck movement. But the thing that sticks out is the stick handling. He is not afraid to keep the puck on his stick on the wall and take a hit while retaining the puck and getting a pass off into the slot or something or up top. He's not scared to really kind of show what he's made of there, and I really appreciate that because he's been playing great for us. All right, another bright spot. This second line for the Wild has been on a tear. These guys, Yakov Trenin, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Danila Yurov, these guys are playing so great together. They're setting up goals, and they are scoring at a higher clip than the first line some games. The first line's power play has really been the bright spot for that first line so far. I'd say Faber and Hughes are still getting that, like, meshing together along with Hughes and Kirill, because those two are some of the most wizardous passers in the league. They got to mesh together for a few weeks, honestly. You got to wait a while to see this chemistry really start to click. But this second line specifically, very, very good. There's a clip going around. Yurov is taking a face-off. It was the goal that Tarasenko kind of just scored right off of the face-off. Yurov said go over here. He knew where he was going to get the face off to, and it went right on Tarasenko's stick. He shoots, he scores. We all go wild. And either way, second and first line, that's what you got to see. You can't just rely on your first line, which we've been doing the past few years. We haven't had depth scoring, but right now you're getting it. It needs to go into this weekend, obviously, with this game being such a huge game and the game on Sunday. Either way, prediction for tomorrow, Wild Oilers, Grand Casino Arena. I got the Wild winning this one, all right? I got them winning 4-2. Last time we played, it was a 1-0 victory. I don't see that. I don't think it'll be like a super offensive game, but I think it'll probably be like a 3-2 game in the third. Wild probably get an empty netter at the end. My player prediction, I'm doing a little bit of a I don't know, pull together. Kirill and McDavid, arguably maybe the two best players in the league, close to it. One of them is the best player in the league. Will combine to have 5 or more points, 5+ points in this game. So they will combine 5+ points, whether that be a hat trick for Kirill and 2 assists for McDavid, 5+ points combined from the both of those guys. All right, next game we're going to be talking about I think I'm talking about the Vikings. Vikings travel to the Big Apple. We didn't get to talk about it as much this week. Kind of a weird schedule we had this week. So we'll talk more Vikings other weeks, especially these 2 last division games to end the year. Vikings, Giants, bit of a worse news, but it was going to come out. Christian Darrisaw, he's out for the year now. They're done with him for the year. Just injury, kind of keeping him off the field because he's been dealing with his ACL, MCL, just the knee that he injured last year. And they don't want anything else to happen to that, which I can completely respect, but he's been shut down for the whole year. So that marks 3 players with Grenard, Metellus, and now CD that's out. There's not much to say here. It's 2 basically rookie quarterbacks. JJ McCarthy is balling right now. He is doing everything that he needs to be doing at this point in the season. This is proving that to a lot of fans and to a lot of analysts, Colin Cowherd, that he is our guy. And everything that this organization does is going to go through him. They might sign a veteran backup, whether that be Mac Jones or anyone else this offseason, but they're going to probably sign someone else. But this is JJ's team. He's proven it these last 2 weeks against these NFC East opponents. He's got 1 more this weekend. I don't see a lot changing. Everything's going right. Kevin O'Connell is calling a very simple offense, which is benefiting him a ton. His receivers are starting to catch the balls. You can argue JJ needed to put more loft on that ball to Justin Jefferson in the end zone. He definitely needed to, 100%. But guess what? That is the best receiver in the NFL. He should come down with that 99 times out of 100. And I think Jefferson would say the same exact thing. Maybe he did. I didn't get to listen to his press conferences. Either way, the offensive line is also playing great. Maybe you're going to see a decline there with Darrisaw being out, but Darrisaw's been out for many quarters in these games this past season. So either way, the entire offense is running perfectly right now. The defense has been on another level these past few weeks against these NFC East teams. Either way, I'm pretty confident going into this game. I think this defense can really get to Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart hasn't really seen a defense like B-Flow's before in his NFL time right now. And I think he's going to confuse him. I think Dart's going to struggle a little bit. Either way, let me get to my prediction. I think it's not going to be it might be closer than I think, but I have the Vikings winning 30-16. All right. Vikings win 30-16. I am going with a Jets touchdown. It's about time. You need Justin to get at least, well, actually, I think he's, 180 yards away from 1,000 yards. So you got to start getting him the ball these last 3 games of the season, but a touchdown is definitely needed. I mean, you just need Justin to get into the end zone. And I also have the defense causing 2 turnovers. Okay. The Giants offense, whether it be 2 picks or 2 fumbles, 2 turnovers. This defense is going to confuse the crap out of Jackson Dart, and it's going to be a fun one in the Big Apple. It's going to be a very fun one. All right, going back to the Wild. Like I was saying, Sunday, big game against the Avalanche. All right. And the reason why we don't have a Sunday morning show and I'm making these predictions right now is because on Sundays we do the Vikings game reactions after the game. So we like to make our predictions the day before. And in my case right now, 2 days before. But this video will be uploaded in the morning on Saturday. So either way, Wild, Avalanche. The Avalanche coming into this game, 24 wins, 2 losses, and 7 overtime losses. Here's the thing. The Wild could be getting very healthy going into this game. I'm assuming Wedgwood's going to be in net for Colorado. He was good against us last time, a lucky goal that kind of sent it into overtime for the Wild. The Wild are going to be coming off of a pretty physical game today against Edmonton. And I don't know if they're going to be able to. I mean, back-to-back games are so tough, but when you are playing 2 of the best teams in the NHL on back-to-back days, that makes it even more tough. We got kind of the last or the end of the line there. McKinnon has a point in every game this year except for 4 games. So there's only been 4 games this year McKinnon doesn't have a point in. That's scary. I mean, McKinnon's a next level player, obviously, but then you have to worry about Cale Makar. There's a lot that the Avalanche put at you. They get a lot of shots on net. They're great with their passing. The chemistry, you can just see it on the ice, with everywhere on the ice with the Avalanche. Either way, I'm going to get to my prediction quick. And this kind of, it stinks making a prediction more than a day away from the game because, first of all, I don't know how the Wild play against Edmonton. I don't know how the Wild play or how our goalie play is, if our defense is lacking. It's all right. I have the Wild losing this one 4-2. Okay. And then as for my player prediction, I had the first line will be the only goal scorers for the Wild. First line is the only goal scorer. Only goals. All right. And then coming off of the huge win tonight, the T-Wolves travel to Milwaukee for a game against the Bucks on Sunday. The Bucks right now are without Giannis Antetokounmpo. And so their lineup is automatically probably 2 times weaker than it would be. But they still have guys. They have Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., who's a young gun. He's a 3-point specialist, can light it up really any night. The Bucks still have guys. They have Miles Turner down in the paint and at the center position. There was his beef with the Pacers leaving them this offseason. Either way, the Bucks have a great team. They're well coached. It's kind of a weird situation with Giannis kind of wanting out right now and maybe demanding a trade pretty soon. Either way, this is so weird. The Bucks obviously weak, but here's the thing with the Wolves. Until they can prove it to me that they can play like they did tonight on a constant basis, I am not giving them their flowers at all. I need to see it. Because here's the thing. They lose to the Suns twice this year. They lose to the Kings. They lose to the Grizzlies. They barely scrape by a 3-win Pelicans team twice. This team's embarrassing after coming off of big wins. They keep proving that all year. So, you know what? I'll just say it right now. The Wolves are going to lose this game against the Bucks, weakened Bucks without Giannis. They're going to lose 117-108. And I could not feel more confident on that pick. Until they can prove me wrong and actually play good constantly and bring it for every single game, I'm not going to believe it. And I'm going to bet against them. I'm going to base my horrible start to this podcast's record here. I'm going to base it on that stat. My prediction, Porter Jr., 4+ threes. Like I said, he can light it up at any given game. So 4+ threes for him. All right, I'm not even going to go over everything. You guys can read it right there. A lot of predictions tonight, a lot of them. Big weekend in sports, big college football implications, and a lot of Minnesota sports this weekend. We got a huge weekend. Christmas is coming up. The Vikings will play next Thursday on Christmas. We'll have a lot of that coming up. And yeah, we got a lot of wild content, center trade, mocks, and all of that stuff. The Twins, more good news from the ownership standpoint. So we'll have content on that in the next week or so. But for tonight, Bruce Kramer, Twin City Sports Talk. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment down below for listener GM. We'll answer or give an opinion on what you guys ask or say. Leave some comments. Go subscribe, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Yeah, it's been great talking to you guys. Have a good night.